Thank you so much for being with me. My name is Peter, and this is the sound of the city coming to you from beautiful, very beautiful San Diego, California, America's finest city. Today, I want to expand on my suicide attempts. And I just want to make a clarification here because I'm new to YouTube. I've never done this before. I'm a loner. I'm an introvert. I do not want attention. Be honest with you, I have maybe one friend. That's my choice. That's just the way I live. So coming to you on camera and exposing myself for everybody to see is different, kind of difficult. But I'm getting used to doing this. But I want to let you know that this forum is about suicide and suicide prevention and living after suicide attempts. I don't care about likes, dislikes, subscriptions, merchandise. I have nothing to sell to you, I guess, other than my story. What I am trying to sell to you is that suicide is not the best option. Suicide should be avoided. Please do not try it. You are playing with fire. 1-800-273-8255 if you're having problems, if you're having suicidal thoughts, suicidal ideation. The Suicide Prevention Hotline is there to help you. Wow, if you're really bad, and I've said this before over and over and over again, I know, and I'm going to keep saying it. If you are in a really bad place and you're on the cusp of killing yourself, stop. Call 911. You know, doing these videos, I wish I could add some like background music, but I can't. I don't think YouTube allows you to do that. So I do have a suggestion. If you want to listen to music next time, uh, maybe you don't want to put the song to my video. That might be kind of bizarre, but Summer Madness from Kool and the Gang. Oh, what a song, so dramatic. But it has that dramatic sound that would go along with what I'm talking about. Beautiful, swift, that quiet storm. Oh, can't get enough of that. But I'm not a radio disc jockey. Really, I'm not much of anything other than somebody who has survived several attempts at suicide. And I'm here to discuss with you some more of the attempts I've made on my own life. Details. Details are not important right now. I'm not here to give you any ideas. 2012, this is my second attempt at suicide. I was in my apartment, and once again I was struggling with my mental health. Things were going okay in my life. I had a great job. I was paying the bills, paying the taxes, and I had enough left over for a 6-pack of beer. And you know, drank too much. I am a problem drinker. I am not convinced I'm an alcoholic, but I am a problem drinker. And alcohol definitely played a role in my suicides. I drank too much. I drank expecting to get relief, and after a while it didn't give me relief, and it made my mental illness worse. So if you're a drinker, I'm not here to tell you to drink or not to drink. This is not about AA or anything like that, but be mindful of your alcohol consumption, especially if you're on medicine. But going back to 2012, I was in my apartment and I was bored. And boredom is one of the worst things somebody could go through if you're mentally ill, or maybe anybody for that matter. Drug addicts, people who are mentally ill, boredom is the gateway to trouble. And in my case that night, I had this knife hanging around my apartment, and I didn't feel like living anymore. So I got it, and I tried to slip my wrist, my left wrist. I tried to get my radial artery to spurt, and I wanted it to spurt blood, and I wanted to eventually become unconscious and never wake up again. I still have the scar. It reminds me every day when I look at it, oh, you really did that. But it reminds me that I survived. I survived that. Another attempt, and this was really bad. In the same year, same circumstances. One night, I was alone. I had drank a lot. I got to thinking, and a guy like me who thinks when they're by themselves are in bad company. I went to my medicine cabinet and thought, well, this could be a way out. I had 2 bottles of medicine that I was prescribed for seizures. I never took them because I didn't believe I had seizures. I had a seizure one time, but they kept giving me all this medicine. So anyway, I was like, wow, these 2 bottles of medicine might just kill you. Maybe you could take them and never wake up again. It could be that easy. So I opened the bottles and I put them all in my mouth, the 100 pills combined. And I sat there and thought, oh, okay, what's going to happen? 1,000 thoughts went through my mind, and all of a sudden I became nauseated, and I threw them up, and they were right before me on the carpet. It was disgusting, but what did I do? I wanted to die. So I gathered up as much of that stuff as I could. There was about 50 or so tablets left that may have been intact, because I had them in my system only for a couple moments, maybe 3 minutes. So they didn't macerate completely. They were still intact. I piled it up and shoved it in my mouth. That's how sick I was. And I was expecting that to somehow kill me. And once again, a couple moments later, I just threw up all over the place. And I actually had to go to the hospital an hour later because my stomach was in great distress. And when I got to the hospital, they had identified some symptoms of me and were concerned that I was suicidal. I didn't tell them what I did. I told them that I was just may have been from something I ate. I gave them all the answers that would free me from being considered a 5150 because I knew how to answer the questions because I worked in healthcare. I abused my professional knowledge. I didn't get help. I didn't get help after I tried to slit my wrist. It was the opposite. I retracted from other people. That wasn't it. One night, I was like, well, I don't really want to live. And you may be questioning me. How is he saying this in such a matter-of-fact tone? Well, I've had several years to live with this. And this is what occurred. I got in my car, and my idea was I was going to crash into something that was cement at a very high rate of speed in the hopes that the crash would kill me. I had to take in consideration that I had an airbag. I had to take in consideration that most of the areas on the freeway have kind of like trash cans or guard posts that are filled with water to absorb a crash. So I knew that wasn't going to work. The chances of survival were too high, and I wanted to die, period. So I wanted to find a cement wall that I could crash my vehicle into. And I drove for 3 hours all over San Diego. I even drove to the stadium. I was thinking I'll crash my car into the stadium. But there were police there, like 4 or 5 cop cars there. It was like they were on break or something, but I thought that wouldn't have been the right place, so I went to a parking lot. And there was this huge, I'm not going to mention the name of the business, huge building, had a cement wall, and I tried driving my car through the parking lot, and I couldn't achieve that high of a speed because of all the trees and the parking barriers, but I was able to get up to 75 miles per hour. And that building and that wall was coming, and it was coming, and it was getting closer, and I was sweating, I was shaking, and for some reason I put my foot on that brake and peeled out a little bit. And the car, when it happened, it kind of tailed out and it nearly flipped over. That's what I would have deserved. But that was another attempt. That was a failed attempt. This is not fiction. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 times I attempted suicide. You'd think, you know, you'd be done. But no, not with my mental illness. I wanted to die more than anything. I no longer wanted to live. And in the next episode, I'll get into those reasons. In fact, I'll just talk about it now. I work in healthcare. And everywhere I worked around a lot of people who died. And I worked for a hospice agency in San Diego. It will remain nameless, prominent, great people. Just about every night I worked, I would go out to patients' homes, and somebody will have died, and I needed to help the family with that. Consult them, call the mortuary for them. I'd help make some arrangements. I'd try to get rid of everything in the house that was related to medical care so they didn't have to see it anymore. But over and over and over and over, I saw dead people. Dead. These people ain't coming back. Some of them, it was a relief to see that they had passed away because they suffered a decade or a a decades-long illness against a major health problem. They suffered and suffered, and I'm glad they passed away. But some of these people were young. Many of these people wanted to live. They scratched at the top of the coffin when they were buried. That's how bad these people wanted to live. And here I am, taking life for granted. I was depressed. I had all this anxiety. I would feel sorry for myself. It was pitiful. But seeing that death over and over again got to me, and it desensitized my view on death. I thought, after seeing all these people dying, that if they could die, well, I could die. Why not? That's what I want. So that's part of how I got really sick. And did I talk to anybody about it? No. We had social workers where we worked. There's psychiatrists I could have approached. I had access being in healthcare, and I kept it to myself. And that's my fault. If you're in a similar situation, don't keep it to yourself. Get help. There is so much help out there right now. There's psychiatrists, therapists, social workers. Right now, it is open in society that mental health care is okay. Honestly, it's no longer a stigma. Don't let a stigma kill you. If you are flirting with suicide, you don't realize how close you are to dying. Honestly, thank you very much for joining me. Your company means the world to me.